righty. What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and we're doing another live stream, but this time we have a very special guest. And it's very funny how I met this gentleman, and we will get into that. Well, without further ado, one half of the United States NWA Tag Team Champions, the country gentleman, and as I like to call him, and I've told him this plenty of times before, one of the nicest men on the face of the planet, and he really lives up to it. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Andrews.
Hey, what's going on? You
How
doing
we
all
doing
right?
tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to get into the door ding of destiny, where we initially met.
we have to start off with that, and
Exactly.
well, we will. First, Kirsten. Hey, Bobby. Hey, Kirsten. How we doing tonight? Then Ryan, my editor. We talked about him off camera. Let's go. Better late than never, Bobby. To be honest, welcome, Anthony. And then Kirsten came back in and said, "Hey, Anthony." So
hey, how's it going, guys?
So we have to start off with the door ding of destiny, as you call it, and I like that.
Yes.
So we're in California, WrestleMania weekend. It was the Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one was Saturday.
Yes, because that was a rough day for me, and we'll get into that. Yeah. So we park in this parking garage, just this random. We're trying to get to WrestleCon. It's this wrestling convention. And I don't think I've told this story besides on Zero Show, so this should be fun.
Yeah.
We park next to this gentleman who happens to be Anthony. And, you know, we just don't really think anything of it. My buddy Joe gets out, slams his door into Anthony's car, and I hear it and I go, oh no. So I take one look at this man, Anthony, who is, I'll say it nicely, I won't say what I was thinking, but he's a big guy. And I'm thinking to myself, he could easily beat us up, no problem. And I'm like, oh, okay. And all I hear is, don't worry, man, it's a rental. And I'm like, okay, we can breathe. I can breathe a little because I'm like, this dude's a big dude who could just easily wipe the floor with us. And now remind me again what happened after that. We kind of saved you in the process a little bit.
Yeah, so that's my entire thing is so anytime I go to wrestling conventions, anything that is wrestling fans, I was just going to actually see some of my friends at the con. That's the whole reason that I was going. And so in between shows, running back and forth, just wanted to see some people. And yeah, I get out, I'm getting all my stuff out, and all of a sudden I hear the ding. I was like, oh no. I look over and it's not bad. For some reason, it happens a lot. Yeah. I just have like a ton of door dings, accidents when I'm the only one in the parking lot, things like that. But I look over, no damage. I let you guys know, everybody. And that's my thing. I'm like, in that moment, I could either ruin someone's weekend by being like, hey, man, you hit my door. I'm going to need some cash to fix it. Or I can be like, hey, we're all wrestling fans. We're all there for the same reason. This is supposed to be a fun weekend. So why not make sure everyone's having fun? And yeah, it was a rental, so it's not a big deal. I wound up having to return that vehicle because it wound up having a flat. I don't know how. I was just parked. It wound up being a flat, but I guess free plug for Enterprise. They took care of me, and they just swapped it out. I had driven out from Texas because it winds up being easier for certain trips. I was going to be there the whole weekend. I did some extra work with WWE. I was out for Brian Kendrick's show, Wrestling Pro Wrestling. Yeah. I did a little bit with GCW, and then just stuff with NWA and meet and greets and all that. It was just a fun weekend. So when I take everything, it's easier to drive. They took care of me. Yeah, I wound up not even being the car that I returned back to Texas in anyway. So you guys were totally fine. You were fun. We took a bunch of photos, which to
Yeah.
me always helps me because you guys are good about posting everything. And
Oh yeah.
then found out that you had a podcast and invited
Yeah.
me on the podcast. That's why I call it the Door Ding of Destiny, because I assume, and that's why I love wrestling, throughout the rest of my career and all of your fandom, your podcast, everything will wind up just crossing paths over and over. And that's why it's a little door ding. It was a rental. You guys didn't mean to, and it's supposed to be a fun, enjoyable weekend for everyone. I think it's still wound up being that. So.
That was a rough day. I mean, I got to meet you, take the picture with Belle. That was cool. I think I don't know if I told you this. My wallet got you lost. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned,
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, it
That's
was like,
horrible.
and the way it worked was like, oh, I hit his door. I lost my wallet. No, it wasn't even me.
Exactly. And then we had the crazy guy on the street right
Yes.
after we tried to walk up going toward WrestleCon. It's some crazy guy walking down the street, which it's LA. That happens. It's not a big deal.
Kirsten says, "Oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
wherever I go, chaos kind of follows." And they are Kirsten and actually Larry. Larry says, "What's up, Bobby? Hey, we'll spell check that. Anthony. There we go." Kirsten says, "Nice." Larry says, "That's a great story." Yes. Ryan says, "That's wild." Yes, it was. Kirsten says, "Crazy story." Yeah. Kirsten and Larry actually live out there. I'm going to see them in
Nice.
October, I believe. But I'll throw my story in. Anthony's like, "Hey, do you guys know where we go for this?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Honestly, dude, I have no idea." I'm like, "I'm lost as you." And he's like, "Okay. So I'm standing next to him. Maybe I'm like 5 feet away in the moment, 10 feet, whatever. I hear just yelling coming down the street. I look, Anthony looks. I start inching my way over to Anthony just to be like, in case stuff goes down, at least I got this guy. And like, I think he likes me now. This was only like 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. So I'm like, I think he likes me. All the fighting champs. And dude just kept walking. He was yelling at somebody on the cell phone. I don't know who, whatever it was. But yeah, just like, I'm like, all right, thanks, man. Then we went our separate ways, and that was that.
Exactly. No, it was crazy, and yeah, that's everywhere. But in LA, yeah, I'm never surprised by stuff. They're super nice people walking down the street, and then just one random crazy guy decided he was not having a good day. Do your friends out there? Did they live in LA?
I'm not sure what. I think Kirsten and Larry, comment where you. Well, you don't have to comment where you live, but comment how far you are from LA.
General area, because I was gonna say, if nothing else, I finally got to wrestle out there for the first time. This specific promotion, I had done some of the ones that used a lot of the same people. Hood Slam out there with Chic, and that's always amazing. But that's up in the Oakland area, so I'd done Oakland, San Francisco. Did they say?
You see it all in LA. Yes, we're in Ventura. Okay, and then Kirsten says we're in Ventura, a little north of LA. Okay, I think.
Okay.
I think we were going to meet in the middle, and I think we would have each had to drive like a half hour or something like that, or maybe.
I was just going to say, Wrestling Pro Wrestling is Brian Kendrick's show. Yeah. It's amazing. They have God, there are just so many characters, and they have Serial Man, the Fromage of the Apocalypse. It's a fun, entertaining show. There are people like, I won't say who they are because they probably don't want everyone knowing, but there's celebrities who just go and watch and enjoy it. And I took photos with them and all that. It's a fun show, especially if you're not like a diehard wrestling fan. It's a fun show that's like, it's crazy, it's in between, but then all of these people, Stoner Bros are there, Chic, Chupacabra, all these people, they're still incredible wrestlers. So you have all this highly technical wrestling and skill, but then they make it so fun that like everyone just loves it. And it's Brian Kendrick from WWE that runs it, and his mind is just, it's crazy to see some of the stuff that he comes up with. It's a super fun show if you guys have time and it happens to be running while you're out there.
Yeah, I've actually had Larry and Kirsten on for a Royal Rumble predictions. Now, Larry used to be a fan.
Really?
He's
Yeah.
kind of in and out. Kirsten, bless her heart, she's not a fan, but she tried, and she actually
Hey,
beat me in the predictions. So, yeah,
see, there you go.
you never know. And then it was we were. She's like, she found out who owns the WWE. She's like, oh, Vince McMahon. She's like, I think I went to high school with him, and I'm like, I think it might be a different guy.
Maybe just slightly.
I think it's just a different guy. She's like, yeah, I thought it was the same guy. I'm like, no, 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 no.
Hey, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, but I
Wind
was
up.
like, oh, okay. Or wait, Kirsten, comment. Was his name Vince McMahon, or was it something like you knew somebody you went to high school with who was named Vince McMahon? And you thought it was the father or something? I can't remember. It was something like that, but I was like, I don't think so.
It's stuff like that happens. It's weird going back whenever so recently I was able to go back to Georgia, and a lot of the people I had a few that I went to high school with, some even middle school coming up with their kids, and it's crazy because they're like, oh, you know, a wrestler, and then they find out it's NWA and they watch some of the shows and they're like, oh, this is actual like wrestling. Like I'm there doing local independence, but they're like, oh no, this is a big deal. So it's always fun. Sometimes you go to high school with random people they know went on to do stuff in wrestling.
Yeah, Kirsten said same name. I
Ah,
remember laughing
I
at
get
that story. But yeah, it was crazy. Okay. This is actually a good question, Kirsten.
what's
And
up.
you get the plug. Where would we watch NWA?
So on YouTube, they have their own NWA channel. You can also check it out on Fight TV is the app. So this upcoming weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend, June 3rd and 4th, we're going to be doing Crockett Cup out in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that will be on the Fight app. They usually do a pre-show on YouTube. So usually you can catch all the weekly shows. USA comes on Saturday at noon, and then Power is every Tuesday at 6:05 Eastern Time, and those are both on NWA's YouTube channel. So those are the main place to catch everything. And then, like I said, Crockett Cup, we're looking forward to. I'm ecstatic about it. Not gonna lie, I'm so excited. Uh, just being a tag team champion, going into Crockett Cup, and then the last Crockett Cup champions were the Briscoes. So we're excited. We're excited for Crockett Cup, and we have a special shirt coming out, the Country Gentleman. It's a cartoon style that might be popular for someone that likes to uh, hunt wabbits. But it's that kind of style, but it's the hunt for the Crockett Cup. I don't want to say the name and get a cease and desist. But we have that over on Angry Lemonade is the website.
Okay.
And so we have those shirts available for pre-order now before next week's Crockett Cup.
Might have to get one. Definitely have
Yeah.
to. She says, awesome. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. That was a good question, Kirsten. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So now I got some questions for you, my friend, and I'm going to start off kind of hard. Why not?
All right.
So I did steal this question from somebody else on another YouTube channel, but I thought it was a great question. Now I have two answers in my head, and I kind of told you about this off air. I want to see if we agree.
All right.
If they made a movie about your life, who would you want to play you?
So, oh man.
Let's see if we agree. I have two names in my head, and I have the pictures ready to go, but let's see what you say first.
So this is just me being selfish. I want it to be Chris Hemsworth. That's who I want off the bat. So just completely, if I get to pick anyone, I'm picking Chris Hemsworth. Especially, there can be a scene where I get in just ridiculous shape, and then he gets to be. But hold on, now that's my pick. Now I want to know who your pick is.
Okay, so I came up with two names.
Okay.
Now, the first one, I'm a massive Sons of Anarchy fan. I don't know if you ever watched.
Nice.
Jax Teller.
Awesome. I'm good with that too.
He was the first one I thought of.
Perfect.
I was like, oh yeah, Jax Teller, because it kind of longer hair. And then a second one popped into my head. Mr. Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, I'm fine with either of those. If those if those are my two choices,
Yeah.
that's
No,
I'm
those were
good
the
with
two. I
either
was like,
one.
but I do see Chris Hemsworth. I do
I
see that.
mean, I appreciate you giving me that one. That's
Of course. No, those
I'll
were the
take that
first two.
one.
I was like, those are good.
Yeah,
And then,
that's
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
or once I get older, just have Michael P.S. Hayes play me. That'll be fine too. I'll be.
True. True.
Or if he needs me to play him in a movie, either way.
Yeah, it all works out in the end.
Exactly.
Kirsten said, "Love Chris Hemsworth." Yes, we all do.
Absolutely.
I,
That's,
I I saw his show on Disney about like fighting his fears. Did you see that?
I started watching it. The first episode is so intense. I haven't made it past the first one
It,
still.
it
I'm like, this guy,
like he's trying not to stress himself out, and like
yeah.
it's wild what he does. But
And
if
then I
yeah,
think he found out he has something with he has like a genetic disorder or
yes,
something
yeah,
during that filming. So now he's even more focused on, I think he's taking a break from Hollywood. He's spending time with his family. Like everything I've seen, heard with him, I'm like, man, this is a crazy guy, like in a good way. Like
oh yeah, for
there's a
sure.
lot of positive stories. So that always makes me happy.
Yeah, and I don't want to speculate because I heard the story about he has something. I don't want to say because I don't remember
Yeah.
quite frankly. But he's trying to like learn how to cope with stress, and I see this dude fasting for 5 days, and I'm like, how is seems pretty stressful.
Stressful. Yeah. Yeah. He I guess wants to face it and get over it, but I have a ton of fears, like heights and everything. I'm like, I don't want to face those head on. That doesn't make it better for me.
Yeah,
But
I
he has a
love
different
roller
mindset.
coasters. Love roller coasters, but terrified of heights.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah, no,
Same way.
just yeah. When I went to AEW like 2 years ago now, and we're like in the upper deck. And I look at the guy behind me. It's one of my buddies. I'm like, I'm going to take this real slow. Going down these stairs. If you want to go around me, be my guest. And he
Yep.
did. He had enough.
Oh no, I do that. So I love baseball. Originally from Georgia, so I love the Braves, and then moved to Houston probably 8 years ago now. Might be more than that, like 9 years ago. The Astros were still terrible. So I would go to Astros games. You could get really cheap seats, not a lot of people there. And then they got amazing the very next year. I was like, this is ridiculous. But the nosebleeds, yeah, same thing. If I want to go to a bunch of games, go up there, and I'm like, I'm not walking fast. This is way too steep. They have an incredible stadium down there in Minute Maid.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, incredible stadium. I'm not rushing down those steps. People can go around. That's fine.
Yeah, I was at Minute Maid in 2020 January for the Rumble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, when McIntyre won and when Edge returned, and actually, well, toot my own horn a little here, maybe if I have the picture, but yes, right there.
Awesome.
They caught my reaction from Edge returning on camera.
That's amazing.
I had no idea in the moment. I got back to my hotel. My buddy's girlfriend sent a text. It's a screen recording. It's me, and I'm like, oh, holy moly. And I should say, my dad is right next to me in the orange shirt. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So,
That's
the guy behind me, I have no idea who he is. we became friendly that night.
But yeah, I love moments like that. And that's what I was saying about wrestling. The fans are amazing. Like you have some terrible people in any walk of life, but a lot of wrestling fans, and that's I forget which Rumble it was that he was out for a while and then returned before, but it was in Atlanta. And so same thing, Edge and the entire crowd lost their mind.
What year was that?
I know, I forget which year, which is upsetting, but it had to be like 13, 14, something like that. Might have been 2011, yeah.
I think he retired in 2000.
It's okay. It's okay. It was one of them though. He was out for a while and he came back. And yeah, crowd just lost their mind. Everybody's, friends in the crowd. You're talking about everything. And that's what I love. That's why WrestleCon Mania Week, all of it is so important to me. And like we became friends just in the garage trying to get to WrestleCon. That's what I love with wrestling is it's that close-knit community, and you guys you have these experiences. I talk about Edge coming back, or you talk about Edge coming back at the Rumble. I talk about a different Rumble that it came back at, and we both know those moments,
Yeah.
even if we can't remember the year. We remember his face when he walked out. Like I specifically remember both those Rumbles, the
Yeah.
expression on his face,
Oh
and
yeah.
I love wrestling. It's amazing.
2020. You see his face, and you could tell he's just like, oh my goodness, I never thought this would happen. And truth,
Yeah.
I never thought he would come back. I saw a report. They're like, oh, Edge was in Houston, and then Beth Phoenix ended up being a surprise entrant in the women's Rumble. So I
Yeah.
was like, in my head, I was like, he might be here for her.
Yep.
I
Yep.
was like, all right, you don't get too excited. I was like, but then his music hit. I blacked out. And yeah. Like in that moment, I was like, "Oh my goodness!" I have the video still. It's favorited. It's never going anywhere. I'll have to share that with you if I.
Yeah.
It's like 4 minutes long, but you only need like the first like 20 seconds. But you just hear me
Awesome.
screaming at the top of my lungs.
Absolutely, because that's amazing.
Yeah.
He came back from injury, and that's to me, I mean, all of it. I love wrestling. To me, like he's one of the people who could do that because he was the opportunist the entire time. So you're like now he's this old, grizzled, worn down, injured man who's like fighting for his life when he's in there. But it's still believable because he never was this big muscle guy who would throw people around and slam someone and then get the pin. You're like, oh, he can still do this because he can scratch and claw his way out when he's backed into a corner. So that's what's so cool about seeing Edge come back. Like you have that moment of, oh, he never thought he could get back to that stage. He could never wrestle again. But then once he's there, you're like, oh, he could actually win because he has all these dirty tactics to, beat someone like a Brock Lesnar, to beat someone like a Drew McIntyre. He has all this knowledge. So you have that believability of, oh man, he could actually win the Rumble and go on headline WrestleMania again, do it all over again. It's crazy. Crazy.
I wanted Drew to win the whole time. I was like, all right, Drew's time, just give it to him. Then Edge comes out. I'm like, I won't be mad if it's Edge. I was like, I really won't. I'm like,
yep.
Like, hey, and then he got eliminated. I'm like, all right, back to Drew it is. I think
exactly.
He third.
I forget. He was toward the end, because
he was definitely Final Four. Oh wait,
yeah.
It's in my brain now. I'm seeing it. It's McIntyre, Reigns, Orton, Edge. Edge tossed out Orton. Reigns got rid of Edge. That's what it was.
You have a way better memory than me. I just remember specific moments, but not like that in depth. That's
I'm seeing the ring in Houston right now at Minute Maid.
Nice.
Yeah, Houston's so nice. Like when I went out,
I love it. Nice. To me, it's my favorite place to live. I live up near Fort Worth now, but I love living in Houston. I always like visiting San Antonio. If you're ever in Texas,
never been there.
Oh, I would say visit San Antonio. You can visit Austin too, and then Corpus. But yeah, definitely Houston, San Antonio are my favorite places.
Yeah, Dallas and Houston, I've both been to.
Yeah, that's right. I think you mentioned Dallas.
I was WrestleMania 38 last year in Dallas, and then you're gonna be in Philly next year?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be up there. Absolutely. Like I don't even know why. We'll either have these or the NWA World Tag Team Championships. One of the two. I'll be lugging the Crockett Cup up there after we win it next weekend. It'll be
I like it. And speaking, it's a good segue. Ryan says the Country Gentleman going all the way. That was a perfect little segue.
Absolutely. I've pointed out, I put out a video earlier in the week. We've beaten 6 of the teams that are in the Crockett Cup. So to me, all we have to do is beat the rest. We've had these matchups with everybody. And that's the thing is those 6 teams aren't even just at NWA. We've traveled to 10 states in 5 months and defended our tag championships. AJ even took them. I wasn't with him, but he took them overseas. I traveled around with them as well. So we've traveled wherever we need to, wherever people want to challenge us, and we've defended the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. Now, the only team that we have to watch out for in our opinion, is La Rebellion, because they're the NWA World Tag Team Champions. But the thing is, if we beat them or whoever beats them and we win the Crockett Cup, that's our next prize. We're
Yeah.
so focused on Crockett Cup. It has so much tradition. It has so much history. It means so much to us. It's the Crockett Cup. It's the biggest prize that you have to beat so many teams for. It's only once a year you get that opportunity. So once we win the Crockett Cup, the only thing left is the World Tag Team Championships. So we're excited for this tournament, and then we're also excited for what it means after that.
Yeah. So everybody go watch the Crockett Cup next weekend. Let's hope our boys can pull it off. The country gentlemen. Let's
Yeah.
hope. Yeah. And so we got some other questions. I did hit you with the hard one, so the rest should be a little easier. All right, we're just going to start off, wrestling. Was it always the goal? And if not, what was?
So surprisingly, and I always point this out, everyone loves wrestling from when they were a little kid. And I watched it a little bit growing up and always enjoyed it. I remember like Rey Mysterio in WCW, and he was so bright and colorful. A few shows I would remember. But then it was actually, I was 17, and it was The Rock and Stone Cold. It was their second match at WrestleMania. And everyone wants to bury that match or whatever. I love that match because I went over to a friend's house and I'm watching it.
Yeah.
And we're all, 17, 18-year-olds. A couple people we worked with were older. Everyone was standing on their feet for 45 minutes, yelling at the screen. And I was just looking around and I was like, I had never been a huge wrestling fan before. I'm just looking around and I'm like, I could do this. Like, I know it's The Rock and Stone Cold,
Of course.
but I'm like, I'm watching wrestling. I'm like, I could do this. And I love wrestling. Like, it's amazing. Ever since that moment, I just remember how much it drew everyone's attention. And
Yeah.
no one was trying to be cool. No one was trying to like sit there and act like they didn't care. No, there's a room of grown people yelling at a screen.
Love it.
And everyone knows what wrestling is. No one cares. Like, they're just losing their mind because it's the most entertaining thing. These guys are athletes. They could beat the crap out of everybody in that room. And I love it. It's so much. And it can do that with anyone. Everybody always tells me whenever I meet new people, they're like, oh, yeah, I used to watch wrestling in high school. I would watch, this period. Oh, I love The Rock. I love Stone Cold. I give it time. If it's someone new that I've met, I'll talk to them. Yeah, blah, blah. And then like 2 weeks later, they'll always come up to me and they're like, so I watched Raw. It was on Monday. I was like, oh, did you? You watch Raw? And they're like, yeah. It's pretty cool. They do some crazy stuff on there. And I saw where, oh, it's this big guy came out with a sword swinging it. I'm like, oh, yeah. Everybody loves wrestling. I don't care what's going on. If you just if you just sit down wanting to enjoy it, you love wrestling. And that's what NWA is. You watch it, there's so many different characters. There's Thrillbilly Silas Mason, who everybody loves. There's the Country Gentleman. There's Slow Rebellion. You have so many different characters. There's people like Chris Adonis, who used to be Chris Masters in WWE. You have Tyrus. You have all these guys from all over. And so if you sit down and watch it, there's something that you're going to love in that show.
Yeah.
In that hour, you're going to find something that you get excited for. So,
well, you mentioned Chris Adonis. I actually have a WrestleCon story with him.
Awesome.
Kind of similar to yours, but we're actually in the building and we didn't hit his car, thankfully. So he just gets off the elevator, and me and my buddy are like, "Yo, that's Chris Masters." He's like, "Hey guys, you want to point me in the direction where to go?" We're like, "Dude, we're sorry, we have no idea." He's like, "All right, bummer."
You guys told me when I asked about it, or it may have even been before that. You were like, "Oh, someone said like, oh, we assume that you guys had like separate parking and a separate way in, blah, blah." I'm like, no, man, they put you up in a hotel and then you figure out where to go. Like, you should be with, and there's so many people who sponsor different wrestlers. There were some people out from Texas who were, basically like brought out by a company out here. It's a Texas Wrestling Cartel. And there's a few other places, and they had Brian Keith out. I don't know if you know Brian Keith.
I did. I saw his name on the WrestleCon page.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
is amazing. Like, watch anything he does. I wrestled with him back at Booker T's, but he was out there, had a match for GCW with Too Cold Scorpio. And by far my favorite match of the day. Like, they were amazing. So yeah, they bring all these people out, and you just kind of have to figure out where you're supposed to go. There's so many cons. It gets, and between that and shows, you get really mixed up. It sounds weird, but like it happens all the time on which town you're in, because you
Yeah.
wake up and you've been there. You may have been there 2 days, and you wake up, and all of a sudden you're like, crap, which town am I in? I've asked Sal Renaro is with NWA, and we do NWA all the time. And we were at WWE. They had asked us to come in, talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, man, I'm not trying to sound cool. Which state are we in?" And he was like, "Arkansas." I was like, "Thank you," because I genuinely forgot that
Good.
was, I think, the same week of. It may have been the week after WrestleMania. So it was WrestleMania. I had a show in Texas, drove up to Arkansas, did that show. And then I know we had another show right after that in a different state. I was like, I just need help knowing what state I'm in. He was like, I got you, buddy. We're in Arkansas today. Thank you. I'm not trying to sound cool. This is actually kind of upsetting. He was like, no problem, man. So,
That schedule, I don't know how they do it. I don't know how
it's
you guys do it.
it's bizarre, but it's fun. Like, you get to meet so many different people, and
You go
that's
everywhere. Yeah.
the meet and greets and everything. Yeah, you get to do some fun stuff.
Like tomorrow, tomorrow they're like Saudi Arabia. It's like
Yeah,
I was torched getting off the plane in Cali. I was so beat, and these guys do it every day or every other day, and it's like,
yep.
oh, I
So
could.
they've got that going on. I didn't do the Australia tour, but Smashing Pumpkins went
Yeah.
to Australia, and WA also did the exact same tour. They were with them the entire time in Australia. And I know one of our commentators for about a month before, Joe, he had a different watch on. It's this huge watch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I've got both time zones and all my stuff set up." He's like, "That way I can get used to that time zone." And then from August, I think it's the very beginning of August through the middle of September, we're doing the World as a Vampire tour. NWA is traveling with the Smashing Pumpkins. And so we're going all across. You guys can check the dates. I don't think they've announced the NWA dates that are paired with them yet, but it's all over the US. And then I think we're doing one in Canada. So that should be a good time.
I don't know if you can hear my dog is getting very vocal.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she
Mine
wants to
are
her opinion.
downstairs, luckily. So.
Yeah, she's barking at something. But
Oh no.
going back to what you said before about how there's something about wrestling that people love. It doesn't matter, just one thing maybe.
Yeah.
My brother and my mother, not wrestling fans, but
Yeah.
but my brother absolutely loves Orange Cassidy.
Yep.
He thinks Orange Cassidy is hysterical. He thinks the whole gimmick is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't watch wrestling, but like the one time, this was like 3 years ago, I'm like, hey, Orange Cassidy had a match. He goes, well, send me the highlights. He's like, I want to see. And like, he would never do that for any other wrestler, but he's like, I want to see. Like, he's like, this guy's awesome. Like,
yeah. No, there's so much amazing stuff, and especially when he first started getting like really huge, like national scene, people didn't get it, but he's just so fun to watch. Like, there's everything about him, and that's what I love. There's so much stuff with each company, but like AEW has a lot of fun wrestlers to watch. And I know this last week, Orange Cassidy has had the opening match of every show
yes.
for the last. I genuinely, I know he's supposed to be injured. I think he's going to die soon because he looks so worn down.
Wait,
I'm
he's injured?
concerned. Oh, he's got back injuries. He has them taped up and everything, and they mention it on commentary, but I assume it's genuine because that man is the opening match every show, and they tricked me last week. Before what was it? Not this last Wednesday, but the week before.
When he had the tag match, right?
Yeah, so they
Start
start
good.
out with a promo. So I was like, oh, Orange Cassidy's not going to be the opening match. Nope. The promo ends in a brawl, and all of a sudden, Orange Cassidy's music plays, and he has the opening match. I was like, good lord! Every week, this man is opening up AEW.
I hope he's not injured, man. I love
Oh,
Orange Cassidy. I met
yeah.
him last August, and
Okay.
by far his line was the longest in that place, and
Yep.
but it's worth it. So I get to the front. I'm like, man, I've been trying to meet you for 2.5 years because I was at that point. I was
Oh,
supposed to meet him
wow.
in March of 2020. We all know what happened in March of 2020. So
Yep.
yeah, so he's like, and just so monotoned and oh really? Well, we're here now. So I take the
Yep.
picture with him. He goes, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Bobby." He goes, "Oh, cool. I'm Orange Cassidy. Nice to meet you." Like I'm meeting this man at a meet and greet, and he's introducing himself to me. I'm like,
Yep.
"You're good. You're good,
Yep.
my man." Yeah,
That's
yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just enjoy they have so many fun wrestlers.
Yeah,
So there's I know they signed AR Fox recently, and I was
yeah,
lucky enough last week I actually went to his training school, WWA 4, because I had met just everywhere I would go with WWE, there were these guys, Adrian Lanis and Liam Gray.
yeah,
Every time, it didn't matter what state I'm in, those two guys, and they've had AEW dark matches. They
yeah,
did a lot with Evolve back in the day with the Skulk. Uh, and they're just fun dudes to hang out with. So I went specifically to do a show with them. We did a 6-man tag. And so all of his students are just amazing. Like they do all these fun flashy moves, but they're so smart with the way that they do the entire match.
yeah.
It was a blast. And it's up on YouTube on WWA 4's YouTube as well. Anyone that wants to watch it, I have friends of mine who have seen a bunch of my matches and they watched that and they were like, that is the most fun that I've had watching a wrestling match. Because we're losing our minds. We're just three friends out there having fun. The three that we wrestled were Northside Heroes from Atlanta and Danger. And that match, I will tell anyone, it's a blast, but it's just the atmosphere that he has because AR is there every week. He's training his guys, and I talked to him. He's fun. I know AEW, I could be wrong, but I believe they just signed the Renegade Twins that are out of Atlanta.
Uh,
And
Possibly. I sometimes they like sign these people and
yeah,
like they don't get announced. So,
yeah,
but I mean, I wouldn't be shocked. I used to watch Dark and Elevation all the time. They were on for a while,
yeah.
and I remember you telling me you were good friend. You're good
Oh,
friends with
dude.
them,
They
or
are two of my favorite human beings in wrestling because they're former NWA Women's Tag Champs. They've done ton, like you said, with Dark and everything, and just their style of wrestling. And then they're the coolest people to talk to. They're the main reason I was at WrestleCon that day, was specifically to go and visit
yeah,
them. And then Katie Forbes was out there too, her and RVD. And Katie Forbes has always been super nice to me. But yeah, that's why I love wrestling. I love conventions. I'll say it a million times
yeah,
because you get to go and see people and just hang out and talk. They had May from NWA was at the table right beside the Renegades, so we got to hang out and talk. Just so many people. Thunder Rosa is always out there, and I met her years and years ago, and always assumed she's not going to remember me. And then WrestleCade actually was the one that this happened at. She has a line just around the entire room because everyone wants to see Thunder Rosa. She sees me walking by and she's with a fan, stops and reaches out and grabs me and was like, "Hey, good to see you." I was like, I didn't, I didn't expect you to remember me. How's it going? But there's so many fun, nice people in wrestling. I mean, it's a sport. We're out there fighting. We're giving it our all. We get injured and we hurt each other and all of that. But there's some really just fun and good people out there in wrestling, and fans included. That's what I love is when I meet good fans who are cool people. I just enjoy keeping that atmosphere going. To me, that's the important part to protect with wrestling. Is making it a fun space that everybody can enjoy, and you can bring people in and be like, "Oh, I know you don't like watching wrestling, but watch this Orange Cassidy guy.
yeah.
Oh, I know you don't like watching wrestling, but watch what AR Fox can do, or what the Skulk can do, or watch what the Renegades." And just so many people, and just going back to NWA, there's Sal Renaro, who I've known forever, wrestled with him all around Georgia. And people see him and his character, and they're like, "Holy crap, the man's insane!" And then he's super talented in the ring too. So there's just, I don't know. Turn on any wrestling right now, and you'll find something that you can
Oh yeah,
enjoy
of
with
course. We're a little behind. So Ryan wants to know, will there ever be a wrestler like New Jack again? I don't think so.
it. I would say probably not. The closest though is actually in NWA. He's much more. I don't know. He's not New Jack, but Homicide. If you
Yeah.
ever get on the wrong side of Homicide, I yeah, I wouldn't want to step in the ring with him. And I've got, I don't know, probably 100 pounds on him, and I would not step in the ring if he was pissed off at me. I've been in the ring with him before, and he's an incredible talent. But as far as yeah, I would say the closest you'll see again is probably Homicide in a good way. He
Yeah.
just has that visceral quality to where like as soon as he walks in the ring, you know something's different with that guy. And he's just from New York. He's super matter of fact, and he's extremely talented. He deserves all of his flowers, but I would not cross that guy. That's not going to go well for anybody.
the, the name that popped into my head for whatever reason, Darby Allin.
Oh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
that boy.
Darby Darby can do all of the same stuff.
He'll
Darby
put his
has
body on the
a
line.
a very good heart. Darby's Darby's a good dude, but yeah, as far as he'll do anything to win a match. That
I don't
aspect
know
of
how
it
he's not
is.
hurt more often.
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's
glad he's not. Don't get me wrong, but
exactly.
I don't know how.
He can jump off at anything, and sometimes watching his stuff outside of wrestling, like his videos that he makes
Yeah.
outside of wrestling, look more dangerous. And I'm like, how? Yeah, how are you not injured? But yeah, so I met him back with in Evolve with Priscilla Kelly, and both of them. So Priscilla, I actually know from Georgia forever ago. Same thing. One of the nicest people ever. She'll take the time to come up and say hi. And I'm so glad to see her in WWE doing so much
Killing it.
because, yeah, she's just amazing. I remember watching her training, trying out like new finishing moves, and then we actually did a war games for NWA Atlanta, and she was our valet walking out. She was just a valet. Super cool person, super nice. She's always been incredible. But then seeing that to where now, like she could main event any show, and
Yeah.
she should be main eventing any show. That it's just incredible to see. So,
Next week she has I think it's a steel cage versus JC Jane
dude,
or
it's
something
going to
along
be
those lines.
insane
Yeah.
because she's another one who you don't expect it. Like with Darby, I feel like you almost expect it now. With Priscilla, she'll put her body on the line and do all of these crazy things that other people won't do, and she knows she can do them. Like she's she's a beast when she steps in there. So that will be badass, and I'm absolutely gonna watch it. That's yeah,
It,
generally what I watch when I'm doing cardio is NXT. So I will definitely catch that one.
great show weekly. I think it's a steel cage. It might be something else like there. Let me be like weapons involved or something. I'm not really sure.
Jeez,
Okay,
that's
against
gonna
my
be
best,
insane.
yeah, against my best judgment, I'll put this comment up on screen.
Oh no.
My side won't get off me with my new Bobby's Breakdown shirt. Thank you, Harley. I got him a shirt yesterday and he's been wearing it. I'm gonna sign it for him tomorrow. Actually, he
Oh,
wants.
nice,
So yeah,
nice.
that's my buddy. I've known him probably since he was like 3 or 4 years old, and now
Awesome.
and now he's taller than me at 20 years old, and yeah, it just makes me feel really bad about myself.
Where do you get those Bobby's Breakdown shirts? Where are those
So
available at?
I can get you one if you want.
I mean, absolutely. But for everyone,
Yeah. Oh
where
yeah,
where would you
so
get?
that's true. Um, good way to do that. So simply put, you tell me what you want. You want your size, tank top, hoodie. We're trying to get
Ooh,
shorts going. I'm not sure if that's gonna work,
nice.
but you let me know what you go. I go out, I get the shirt, I get the logo made. I'll drive to you and deliver it if I can.
Awesome.
But worst case, I will mail it.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
and then I'll just tell you a price, and no,
Sweet, man.
we're I mentioned on my channel before, but then we lost the merch guy, quit his job, and then we had to get another one. Yeah, it was just a whole thing. And
It's difficult. That's why.
we're actually trying to get new merch now, like a
Okay.
website, and I
Yeah.
think I'm gonna do it. Yeah, just gotta
If you already have someone, if not, I always recommend Angry Lemonade because
okay.
he does all the designs. He's super just easy. And like I said, he's the one who did the Crockett Cup. I have a Pro Wrestling Tees website, but that's just for simplicity. As far as him, he actually he's just a designer. He just constantly comes up with designs, puts them out. And some of the ones I'll see for like my tag partner, AJ, they'll be just crazy new designs constantly. And then Throwbilly Silas Mason, he'll just pop out these designs. And I'm
Okay.
like, man, and it's good quality shirts too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause mine
definitely.
right now, unfortunately, it's like the press on. So if you throw it
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
wash, it's gonna come off. Yeah.
Gotcha. And that's a lot of my stuff. So I love Cricut machines and vinyl and all that stuff. So a lot of my stuff I do myself. But as far as getting shirts made that are actual quality,
Yeah.
Angry Lemonade is a great place. And you
Look
can
at
get
that.
your 2023 Country Gentleman Crockett Cup shirts
There
at
you go.
Angry.
Good plug. I like that. Way to plug. All right, Harley. I'm definitely not putting that comment on up on screen.
Come on, Harley.
Yeah,
What are you
definitely.
thinking, man?
The first one I let you go, buddy, but the second one, well, okay, he redeems himself. But Ryan wants to know: did you grow up playing the WWE games?
Yes, yes. And I just had this conversation the other day because there was a girl that I was dating when I was growing up, and she would get on to me for playing them so much. And I'm like, look, they're showing a lot of crazy new moves. You can actually have fun. And I wouldn't just play to pin somebody. I would play until the match made sense. And then you got the finisher. And then you did all that. And then you finally get the pin. And she was like, that's not the same. It's not going to be the same when you wrestle. You know what? It came in handy. So yes, I love all those games. I played all of, especially the SmackDown series all the way through. And then there were a few that friends had for Dreamcast and things like that that were a little bit different style. But my main one was SmackDown. That whole series I played all the way through.
Actually, Harley comes back in. SmackDown vs. Raw 2007, best by far. That's what he says.
Oh, nice.
Classic game.
Nice.
And he also said, "Here Comes the Pain," also very good. That's probably
Yes.
my favorite.
I was going to say, Here Comes the Pain, I played just a ton. And I love as soon as they had create a player, like create a wrestler, that was always my thing was create a wrestler, work through everything. Yeah. It was those games are a blast. And anyone who likes playing them, I think that's a whole different facet. That's why I like people like Xavier Woods, people like just everyone from AEW that does it too, Adam Cole, all these guys. They see that and they're like, hey, there are all these fans who like gaming, but they enjoy wrestling, so let's just bring them in. There's so much crossover and it's so much fun. Why would you try and exclude anybody from that? Yeah, I love wrestling games. It's a blast, and now I'm like, oh, NWA needs a gaming channel. So
Yes.
that's a good point.
To kind of segue, because you mentioned Adam Cole and Xavier Woods, have you ever heard the story of when they called one of them into WWE? It was,
No, I don't
I,
think I have.
I think it was Adam Cole for the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were at the bar and he caught Serena Deeb drinking at the bar. Yeah, ironic, but they confused Xavier Woods and Adam Cole because
Oh
Austin
no.
Jenkins is Adam Cole's real name, Austin Creed. So they called
Yeah.
him up. They called up Adam Cole and they're like, "Hey, we need you to come in for extra work." So he shows up and they're like, "Who are you?"
Ooh.
And he's like, "You called me in for extra work," and they're like, "We did." They're like, "No, we wanted," and then they're putting it together. They were like, "Well, I guess we called the wrong guy, but you want to be in this segment?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." It's like,
Awesome.
yeah,
Holy
like just they messed up the names, and it's so cool.
jeez, man. Yeah, I've heard a few stories like that, and Bruce Pritchard talks about a few where they want someone, the other person shows up, and they're like, "What are you doing? Who'd you call? Like, how'd you mess this up?" it's it's
Yeah,
very simple, but
when I heard that,
yeah,
but it's like, hey, look at Adam Cole now.
I was gonna
Worked.
say at least it worked out for everybody because I think Xavier's doing okay
Oh
for
yeah, they're
himself
both.
now.
I have an Xavier story after this, but Homicide gives me old ECW vibes. Yes.
Yes, yes, that's. I mean, that dude, yeah, he can do anything, and the thing is, you if you try and think of him one way, he can do the opposite just as well. He's a super technical wrestler, and then if you want to go out there and just have a fight and just yeah, horrible underhanded tactics, not even joking, just in real life, he can do all of it. The
Okay.
dude's amazing. So yeah, yeah, and that's one of the things I enjoy with NWA too is we get to work with all these people also backstage, like Homicide, Medusa's there. You get all of these people with all this experience. I love when Medusa goes over our matches. She's taken interest in our matches a lot, and we'll go over things, and she'll just give like all this little feedback that you wouldn't think about, and it's so helpful. And then we have Tom Pritchard walking around giving us advice, because AJ trained under Tom Pritchard. So there's such a wealth of knowledge backstage. People who come in, you got Bobby Fulton just coming in doing his stuff, but then you can sit there and talk to him about tag team wrestling the entire night. So it's an awesome experience, and just so many people have been so many different places that it's really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah. My Xavier Woods story. So went to this convention. Was it last August? Yeah. It's a horror convention. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
We meet people at the bar. We're just talking. Comes up. I'm like, I'm a wrestling. And she goes, oh, that's cool. I used to party with some of the WWE wrestlers. I'm like, oh, do you remember their names? She goes, eh. She goes, one of them did something up, up, down, something. And I'm like, Xavier Woods? She goes, yeah, that's his name.
I know it's his name.
I'm like, what? Like, you got to party with Xavier Woods? She goes, yeah, I think his tag partners were there too. I'm like, Kofi and Big E? I'm like, oh.
Awesome.
I'm like, and she's just like, yeah, they were just, because like I'm freaking out. She's like, yeah, whatever.
Awesome. So mine's a degree of separation because I believe it was Sal's wedding from NWA. And so my old tag partner from Georgia, he asked him, "Hey, can you pick someone up and bring them? Blah blah. They're coming to be part of the groomsmen." And they're like, "Yeah." So he stops and picks them up, and it's Xavier because Sal Renaro has wrestled everywhere forever. And if you walk through backstage, that's Sal's usually at those shows as well. Whenever I come in and just walking backstage, every single person stops and talk to him. Everyone knows Sal. Adam Pierce will stop and talk to him. Dexter Loomis, all these guys. And so I'm walking around with him the whole night and just like off to the side, like, hey, and everybody will start talking to me. I don't want to like jump into their conversation, but everyone's so nice. I'm talking to 50 superstars backstage because they've all known Sal for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
Harley says the New Jack incident where he tased the guy and tried to throw him out of the ring from 25 feet above was my personal favorite moment. Yeah, that makes sense, Harley. Knowing you, yeah, that dark side of the ring is crazy.
oh, yeah. No,
Oh,
Dark Side, yeah. I can't watch them every single week when they come out. I usually have to give it a little bit
yeah,
and then go back and watch it again because they're so intense. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, oof. Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Brian says Bobby's Breakdowns website coming soon. I would love that. I would.
Yes.
Where did we go? I lost my spot. There we go. Website would go crazy. Yes, Harley. And then Harley comes back. I'll watch my mouth. I'm sorry, Robert. Thank you, Harley. Yeah, I couldn't read that one comment, Harley. Can't put that on screen. Harley says we need to start a backyard wrestling league soon.
Awesome.
Harley, my body hit a. I'll ref. Or I'll manage. I'll manage it, and be a non-physical manager. Ryan says, should Bobby create a spicy link? It's crazy how much money can be made.
I mean, hey, small business entrepreneur. I'm always in favor. I have a lot of friends in wrestling who are not known outside their local area, and they'll post their I guess financial breakdown from the website, and easily 50 to 70,000 a year. And I'm like, how are you making this? No one knows who you are. You're just a person in your local area. It doesn't matter. So I can't imagine how much higher up people are making. Yeah, that's just,
Ryan, make the website.
exactly. You'll have to share my link whenever I create my no.
Deal. I mean, we all get good, you know.
Exactly.
Spicy links the way to go, Harley. My buddy Dino. That's a cool background, Anthony Andrews. Yes, it is.
Absolutely. Got the NWA. They've taken care of me, so I always make sure to represent the NWA everywhere I go. And then the championship hanging off over there, I actually no longer have. I was defeated by Ryan Davidson at RCW down San Antonio. I've considered that my home for the last probably 6 years or so, and held that championship for 3 years, with the exception of just a couple days here and there. So I haven't had a chance to challenge for it again, but being the international champion for RCW in San Antonio for 3 years, they sent me a replica of the championship. So, yeah.
Ryan, I know it's yours, people. All right, enough with the spicy links, people. There we go. All right, Harley says, I can realistically be a top heel in my eyes. I believe you could. You just got to get there, kid. And just need to get the body ready. Yeah. Harley's a good guy, but he can turn it on.
There you go. That's all. You have to have that something inside of you that makes people just hate you without even knowing why.
Yeah, exactly. And Kirsten says, Dino. Yeah. Welcome, Dino, buddy. Thanks for joining us. I got some other questions. Where did we go here? There we go. All right, I did the. Okay. This is gonna be kind of a loaded question, but dream match can be dead or alive. Who
so I'll say honestly, dream match, and that's what's makes it mean so much this year. But it's kind of upsetting. Would be the Briscoes, and honestly, it would if I could pick somewhere, it would be a Crockett Cup, just because they won the last Crockett Cup. It would mean so much. And then also, I've told this story once or twice before, but Ring of Honor Dojo in 2014 went up there for a seminar, and they had nothing to do with it. They weren't there. They just showed up because there was a show that night out in Delaware. So they showed up, and it didn't matter. I assume they weren't getting paid anything for the seminar. It didn't matter to them. They started watching, they started giving feedback, critique. I believe both of them. I know Mark got in the ring at one point and he's going over stuff, different ways to go into things. I know Jay was there giving a ton of feedback. I can't remember. He may have hopped in too. But these guys just loved wrestling. So it doesn't matter that they're not getting paid as part of the seminar. They're not there for the seminar. They see wrestling and people who care about their craft, and they started giving feedback. So just seeing those types of guys, seeing what they've meant to tag team wrestling, that would be my dream match, period. Like,
yeah, that's cool.
It would just be such an easy fit. So hopefully it means a lot. They showed us a lot through the last Crockett Cup, and hopefully some of it gets back to Mark, that it's, how important that is and how much it means to us this year, going into the Crockett Cup. So hopefully, I don't know if he still keeps up with everything. He has so much going on with his career, but hopefully he's able to at least see some of the highlights, and hopefully we're able to kind of, not even in a blatant way, just kind of pay tribute to everything that they've done for tag team wrestling, because it's appreciated.
Yeah, I still remember where I was when the news broke, and I'm like, what? No, I'm like, it can't be. Come on. And it's just like slowly coming out, and it's like, jeez.
Yeah.
And wrong spot, wrong time for the guy.
And it's upsetting because I mean we travel so much. That's what we do. A lot of the shows, like I was saying, I prefer to drive to. It might be a 19-hour drive each way,
Mm.
but I enjoy driving. It's fun for me. I get to listen to podcasts and all this other stuff that helps a lot now.
Yeah.
Uh, but just with those drives and then that happening, and granted, he wasn't out traveling on the road. He
Yeah.
was, going back home. But still, that stuff's upsetting, and he has all that he cared about was his family.
Yeah.
Like that's what he was trying to take care of. So at least, if nothing else, his family wound up. It's so upsetting.
Yeah.
So at
Yeah.
least his family is okay and hopefully getting better each day. But yeah, you don't want to hear that from anyone in wrestling, and especially someone who cared so much about wrestling, about his family, who gave so much to it. It was definitely sad to hear.
Yeah. Tragic for sure. But Clout God Harley says a dream match for me would be Gregory Helms or Super Crazy. Interesting.
Nice.
Two crazy athletic cruiserweights and people who don't get talked about enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gregory
Those
Helms,
are,
great heel back in the day.
yeah. Now, if it's dream singles match, of
Yeah,
course, my
go for it.
my favorite wrestler is Kurt Angle. And so a fun moment for me was I have to think of what year it was, but opening segment of Raw, got to walk out, first person walk out with Kurt Angle, opening segment of Raw as security. And then it didn't go so well after that because Braun Strowman grabbed me, threw me into a garage door. But other than that, it was a fun moment. So Kurt Angle would be my dream match, just singles.
Normal day at the office. Braun
Yeah,
Strowman causing chaos. You know, I'm
no
gonna have to
big
find
deal.
that. Yeah.
It's a fun video. It's usually the first one to come up if you just type in Braun Strowman security. So,
Okay.
uh,
We'll do that
and
later.
I will mention I was completely back on my heels, almost falling over, and it's a weird feeling as a 280-pound man to have someone yank you back up as you're already falling backwards and then throw you. It's it's a bizarre feeling that I'm not used to.
And I've stood next to Braun, and that is a massive man.
Yep, he is.
I saw him like 2 weeks before he returned, and I was like,
Yeah.
"When you coming back?" He's like, "I don't know. You know, they got to meet my price." I'm like, "You're lying." And 2 weeks later, I heard his music, and I'm like, "I knew it."
Awesome.
Yeah, I was
Awesome.
like, he was on his way back when I was meeting him. That's sick.
Yeah,
Nice guy
that's
though,
crazy,
super
man.
nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great dude except for throwing me.
But
Um
everybody gets angry, you know. Everybody has those bad days.
I mean he threw like six of us at that point, so it
It's not
wasn't
like he was just
personal.
going after you, you know.
I grabbed his shoulder and told him he had to leave. And I think that may have been my fault. That
Yeah, that you don't poke the bear, you know.
Kurt Angle tells me to kick someone out. I'm kicking him out.
That is
I'm
true.
trying to kick him out.
Yeah, yeah. I met Kurt before. Super nice guy.
Yeah,
Super nice
he's
guy.
awesome too, and just so much. He's so focused in the back. Like every time I would see him, he's just super focused, going over everything, making sure he has everything right. And it was neat to see that too backstage. Like just the amount of work that everyone puts in, but just like I don't know, just seeing everyone so honed in. I always love that atmosphere. I enjoy it backstage at NWA. So everyone's trying to build this product that we're just doing more and more, and there's certain things that I can't even talk about that are coming down the pipeline. But just even with the tours, we did Mexico and Australia already. We're doing the US tour, and then I don't know what happened back there. All right. Well, it's good. All right. I was like, I don't know what happened. But yeah, just the US tour. Like I said, we're going into Canada. That's my big goal for this year was to do 3 countries this year. I always set out a goal at the beginning of the year. It was 3 countries. So with that, it'll be two, and then just have to knock a third country out, which shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, that's
So
sick. All right, we're gonna segue a little from the wrestling. Ryan wants to know, Anthony, are you a big movie guy? If so, what's your favorite movie of all time?
ooh, favorite like just Just like that? Like, what's your favorite of all time? There's so many movies.
Before you answer, if you guys really know me, comment below what my favorite movie of all time is. Anyway, let's see
Awesome.
if anybody gets it.
So, what, my movie or
Yeah,
are
you.
we?
Yeah. I want to
Okay.
see if my fans
So,
know. Well, fans, friends. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a lot of favorites, and they're different things to watch. We were actually talking before we started filming about Fast and the Furious
Yeah.
because I love that entire franchise. I love a lot of the Marvel franchise, and then I have certain ones that I always just enjoy personally. So I like it's weird Nightmare Before Christmas. I'm a huge fan, and I will watch it every year at both Halloween and Christmas. I love just all of the animation. I love Tim Burton. I love Danny Elfman as far as music, and then I also love Doctor Strangelove and How I Learned to Stop Worrying and love the Atomic Bomb. So those are actually very high, if not one and two. And then I just, yeah, just for movies I enjoy, I can always throw on Fast and the Furious and really just any of the Marvel movies I enjoy. So those are my picks.
What's your favorite? What's your favorite Marvel movie? And then what's your favorite non? Okay, what's your favorite Marvel movie first?
It's so tough because like I just saw Guardians 3, so I'm trying to push that.
Great movie.
Yeah, honestly, like Guardians 3 and Black Panther are so close, but I would have to say it's between Thor and Iron Man, like the original for both, because I love.
Thor one is great.
I'm probably gonna say Thor
Yeah.
because Iron Man's amazing. To me, Iron Man started the entire Marvel cinematic universe.
Yes.
Like
Of course.
before that, they kept trying stuff and they were like, "Oh, this isn't working." And then all of a sudden, Iron Man happened. They just blew up. Thor, I would say, because it's amazing. I can watch it anytime. And during that time, this I'm a huge comic book nerd, so I love
Yeah.
comics.
I've never been the comic book guy. I just yeah.
Really, oh, dude. And see, I'm a DC guy. Superman is my favorite superhero. So a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, how could you? You know what? Watch Smallville. It's
Yeah.
going to be hokey and terrible."
Yeah.
I love Superman. Love it. But for Thor, it actually worried me because at that time they did was it Christopher Nolan's Batman, that whole trilogy. So
Yeah. The Dark Knight trilogy.
he was a super believable. Sorry, we're gonna nerd out here, guys. Everybody strap in. He was a
They're used
super
to it by now with me.
there we go. He was a super believable hero. He didn't have superpowers. They very much established like this is what happened in his life, and then he has a research and tech division. Then you had Iron Man, who, as best they could, they tried to establish like, hey, he's a genius. All of these things are super legit. He created them. And then you get Captain America, who he's a guy who they gave the super soldier serum to. Okay, he's a dude. And then they announced Thor, a demigod who throws lightning and flies around with his hammer that's made out of a dwarf star. And I was like, oh no, oh. And if you've ever tried to read Thor, it's super dry. And I'm like, this is gonna bomb so hard that it is gonna ruin any chance of a future Thor. And then I saw it and it's amazing. And somehow the way they did it, you're like, oh, I can follow this, I can suspend disbelief enough. And they gave you Chris Hemsworth. So they're like, anyone who wants to complain, it's Chris Hemsworth, they're gonna watch it anyway.
Yep.
And I was like, all right. So I love the story, I love the timing of it, everything. I think they did a great job to bridge with the then came the crazier superheroes of like, oh, you have these people from out in space, just Guardians of the Galaxy who actually have superpowers and they figured out a way to make everything kind of mesh.
Yeah. Because like when I first saw the first Iron Man, I had no idea what they were doing, and then Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, I had no idea they were connecting all of it until I
Yeah.
didn't really realize until I think the first Thor actually, because Samuel L. Jackson showed up in the after credit, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know that guy, and I'm like, huh. And then he showed up in Captain America. Captain America is my favorite superhero, by the way.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's a good choice.
I have Captain America keychain on my keys,
Nice.
but I was just like, wait a minute. I'm like, this is sick. And then the first Avengers movie, I loved. Infinity War, I loved. My favorite Marvel movie is Infinity War, but I feel like that's kind of cheating. So,
Meh.
non-Avengers wise, it's probably the first Captain America.
Oh, nice.
The
Nice.
ending blew my mind. And
Yeah.
spoiler alert, but it's been 12 years, or whatever it's been, maybe even more. He wakes up in modern day, and he's running
Yeah.
outside, and people are like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "What happened?" And they're like, "You've been asleep, Cap, for 70 years," and I'm like,
Yup.
15-year-old me was stunned, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." Like, cool.
No, that's awesome. And yeah, they didn't leave you with the cliffhanger of him going down in the ship.
Yeah,
Like they went in and gave you like, oh no, like you said, we're drawing it all together now.
yeah,
And it's freaking crazy.
yeah. Because I
Like,
was like, "How's he surviving this?" And then, boom,
yeah.
I was like, "Okay, cool, I'm in." Uh, yeah. Wait. Before we go to the other questions, are you seeing the new Flash movie?
Oh, yes. So, oh my God. Sorry.
No,
So
you're
I
good. I feel
love,
good about it. I like.
oh, I have so many theories. I assume they're using it. So I'm excited, but also there are certain things that upset me. Everyone knows like The Rock and Henry Cavill are out. I assume from what they show, I know, right? I
My, my,
enjoyed Black Adam. Everybody can bury it. I loved
I
Black Adam.
loved it.
I don't know who all these people are who hated it, but
And then the after credit, I'm sitting next to my buddy. I'm like,
yes,
oh, here, I'll show my hands. I'm like, I'm like grabbing him. I'm shaking him. I'm like, because the silhouette
yes,
comes down, and I'm like, I know who that is, but is it the person? And I see his face. I'm like, oh my god,
yeah.
Black Adam versus Superman, and then, huh? 2 months.
And I'm so annoyed because I needed Shazam and
Yeah,
Superman too.
yeah,
Like they built that up through the entire first one, and also this is how much of a freaking nerd I am. Shazam is the only person that Superman is scared of because Superman is susceptible to magic. So if you read Kingdom Come,
wow,
when they're all super old, that's what keeps Superman at bay. I don't want to spoil it because it's an amazing graphic novel to read if you haven't. There's a villain who basically, because Billy is a child, he's a
Billy Bats.
kid.
Yeah, Shazam for
So
those of you that don't know.
exactly. So he basically gets him on his side and keeps Superman at bay because Superman is terrified of Shazam. Plus, at
But
this point, Superman is much older.
yeah,
He's aged. He's not as strong, but he's terrified of Shazam because he has all the same powers, but they're based in magic, which Superman is susceptible to.
hmm.
Man, I'm a nerd. Whatever.
Like
But
I never
yes,
knew that.
I'm going to watch it because I assume the new Flash is their way of doing away with that. I think they're basing it on Flashpoint,
Yeah,
which is
I think they
where,
are actually.
yeah. So they're going to restart it with, I think they're doing Supergirl instead of Superman, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of things if you've read Flashpoint, that's why Michael Keaton is in the movie. Oh, yes, I'm super excited. It's the short version of
yeah.
I can go into so many things, but I also think they're using it to write out Henry Cavill and Black Adam. They're resetting it
Yeah,
using
all that.
Flashpoint.
Yeah. When I did a trailer reaction to the Flash, and it was the one that aired during the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, usually with my trailer reactions, I go in blind. So I'm like, all right, let me go in
Nice.
blind this time. When the
Awesome.
camera pans up, the mask comes out, and the music plays, and Keaton appears. I'm like, I was like amazed. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, I'm trying to like contain my excitement. I'm like, oh, because
Yep.
now my favorite Batman of all time is Christian Bale.
Okay. That's yeah.
I wasn't alive for Keaton
Yeah.
in 89 and 92. So and well, a nice little segue. Bobby's favorite movie is The Sandlot or The Dark Knight. It is The Dark Knight of all time, hands
Awesome.
down.
Nice.
So that's why Bale is my favorite Batman, kind of by
Yeah.
default. But if you say like Keaton's my favorite Batman, Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I can't
that's
blame you.
so I love Keaton. My thing, this is again going into a different thing. If you ask me favorite superhero movie, I can't include any of the Dark Knight because to me they're not superhero movies. It's an epic. It's this three-movie epic that exists outside of superheroes.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's just a perfect trilogy
Mm.
because they went through all of this stuff. They're so amazing, and you could even be like, oh, this isn't a superhero movie, watch it. And I think that's reasonable. Like, you don't have to go into it thinking, like, oh, this is a superhero film. No, it's just this three movie epic that they decided to make. And Batman happened to be the character that they chose.
That's fair.
Like, yeah, I just view it as separate.
Yeah,
But
been my
yeah,
favorite movie of
also,
all time forever.
yeah, also, if you know Flashpoint, you know who I think Michael Keaton is.
Thomas Wayne.
Yeah, so I was trying not to, sorry, hopefully
Oh,
that didn't
I
ruin anything for anyone else. But yeah,
I
I
wanted
don't
to act
think
like I knew,
he's
and I was happy I got it.
yeah, that's exactly what I assume is happening. But I'm so excited for it. I actually am not a huge fan of the dude that's playing Flash, but that's because I watched the Flash TV series,
Okay.
which if you watch like the first 3 or 4 years, I'm trying to make it through the last season. The last season's not good. But if you
I've heard that actually. I heard that
yeah,
on Tuesday.
oh, ever since, man, we're just nerding out super hard. I think the pandemic pretty much killed the series. Like their filming got weird. They tried to wrap it up, and now they know they're ending the series, so it's just gotten really weird. If it had ended like right before the pandemic, the show was amazing.
Yeah.
But I like all the my last super nerdy thing. I think DC should stick to TV shows. I think Marvel should stick to movies.
Yeah.
And that's before like then they came out with Daredevil and that TV show was amazing. The Luke Cage is amazing, Punisher is amazing. So Marvel's done better with shows. But I think historically DC has done better with TV shows like Smallville, Flash, Arrow, things like that.
Yeah.
Marvel does amazing with movies. You can't touch Marvel movies.
Yeah. I personally like the Marvel TV shows. Well, some better than others. Like
Yeah.
Loki.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Loki is phenomenal. I loved Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, that one surprised me. I thought I was gonna hate Hawkeye because I wasn't a very big like I didn't care about the character as much.
Yeah, he was just there, and like Hawkeye wasn't even the best character of the show. It was
Yeah.
Kate and Yelena
Yep.
when they're
Yep.
fighting each other, and they're trying to like Yelena could kill her, but she likes her too much, so she won't do it. And like Kate slaps her, she's like, "What was that? That hurt."
Their shows have
stuff
gotten
like
so
that.
much better, and that one blew my mind specifically. And it happened again with what is it? Oh, She-Hulk. Which, if
Yes.
people don't watch She-Hulk, I get it, but they blew my mind because they're talking about this villain, talking about this villain, talking about this villain, and then they bring in the villain. Obviously, you've seen the show,
Yeah.
so I'll just say it. It's been out for years. Watch it, people. But they bring in Kingpin from the Daredevil series that had been canceled on Netflix.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, hopefully they're actually bringing these shows back, tying all of these people together. And then in She-Hulk, they bring in other characters too. So I'm like, okay, hopefully.
Well, we're not really giving away spoilers with who shows up in She-Hulk because he is in the preview.
Oh yeah, it's
He
Daredevil.
is hinted heavily
right.
in the preview.
Right.
So, and I was like, all right, when's he showing up? When's he showing up?
Yeah.
But yeah, Hawkeye, they brought him in. And like I said, I'm not a comic guy, but I listened to a podcast that reviews all the Marvel shows, and they're the comic guys.
Nice.
So that's how I get the info because they were like, oh, it's got to be Kingpin. I'm like, Kingpin, who's that? And then I'm like, oh, that's Kingpin. And it's like, cool. He was really good.
Yeah. And I'm excited for like Luke Cage to hopefully show back up because that show was amazing. And
I saw the actor was like, I'm ready.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's like, I'm waiting on the call. If they want to call me, I'll gladly come back.
Hopefully, yeah, that's awesome because he was amazing in that.
Yeah. So for you non-superhero fans, we'll segue off this.
Sorry, guys. Sorry.
I could have him back on. I could have Anthony back on for just superhero talk, man. We might have to do that actually.
I'm fine with that. I will nerd out super. Yeah.
June
Super hard.
16th, Michael Keaton. Did you get your tickets yet?
Oh no.
Yeah.
So I always have to decide. There's one that's like a cheap, nice theater that you get your own popcorn and all this stuff, and I love that one. Or there's Studio Movie Grill. I love movies, so it's like, which one do I want to do
Yeah.
that day, and which one's going to be less crowded and all that. So,
Yeah, I feel you.
and
Oh,
if I'm traveling, because
day
I
of.
will straight up
Yeah.
just go whenever I'm in a town, I'll straight up go and see movies anyway, because we travel so much. I'm like, I want to see this film tonight. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I bought my tickets on Tuesday, I think when they went on sale.
oh, nice.
Usually we make it a mission. There's like anywhere from 5 to like 10 of us. We go on a Friday night. Like there was like 10 of us for Guardians 3. There's
Oh, yeah.
like 13 of us for Flash. But
Awesome.
we were all off, or most of us are off the next day. So we were like, "You want to do a Thursday screening?" And everyone was like, "Yeah." And we were like, "All right, we're definitely not going to get anything spoiled for us."
Yeah.
So, and I don't know if you heard this. This is the last thing, guys. I promise. They're not showing the after credit to the early screenings.
Really?
They're keeping it like obviously when June 15th hits, you'll be able to see it. But
Oh, I see what you mean.
they don't want like people who are seeing it now, like today.
Yeah.
They're keeping it under wraps, and I
That's
wonder what
awesome.
they're doing. I wonder what they're
Yeah.
doing. I have theories. I'm not sure if I'm even close, but anyway, we'll
Yeah.
segue off of that. Going back to movie guy. Thanks, Ryan. I'm Kirsten says, I'm curious what kind of music you listen to, Anthony. Not sure if it was talked about. I was gone for a few. No, we have not talked music. So good
No.
question, Kirsten.
So my favorite, I'll go ahead and say my absolute favorite musician ever is Johnny Cash. I was so excited. The first taping that I went to in Nashville for NWA, I had always wanted to go to the Johnny Cash Museum, and he has a barbecue place, like a whole restaurant that's attached to it. So I went, did that. It's amazing. I probably cried, whatever. Love Johnny Cash. It's incredible. But the thing is, like, I only like, so I don't really listen to much country now. I'll listen to some stuff, embarrassingly, whatever I hear on TikTok, and I'm like, oh, that sounds all right. Then I'll look up the whole song, and there's like 5 songs I found in the last year. But
Yeah,
most of my country, huh?
that's okay. I go through Instagram reels and I'm like, oh, that's a good song. I find it, download it.
Yep, yep.
I know.
Most of my country taste is older country, Dolly Parton, Garth Brooks, Reba, things like that. But as far as current, I really listen to, honestly, like, I know it sounds weird, a lot of pop, hip hop, rock. Rock isn't as surprising, but rock is kind of the same thing. It's going to be like 90s, 80s, 70s rock. So things like that. Dio is one of my fave older bands. I don't know why. There's so many. I think because I don't know as much Dio, and people will introduce me to something new, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I enjoy Dio, and it's my old entrance music was Rainbow in the Dark, and
Okay.
everybody jams out to it and loves it. So yeah, older country, older rock, and then current stuff is a lot of pop and hip hop. I enjoy people's ability. I don't just like hip hop and rap. I enjoy when they're able to actually like craft a story and use wordplay through the song. That's the rap that I enjoy. I'm like, holy crap, that's impressive, guys.
Yeah.
So
So going back, I love the Fast X was great. Yes, it was. Actually, it's a good perfect time to mention. Part 1 of my review is coming out Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern.
nice.
There is a part where a certain wrestler hits a certain move in that movie, and I lost my mind in the theater.
Yep, I saw that too and could not believe that that happened. But I'm actually going to make a meme related to
Okay.
Fast X because can you imagine anytime that you think you're not doing a good job at work or even in life, could you imagine being the casting director from, I think it was Fast and the Furious, what was the original one, 7? that they're down in Rio de Janeiro where the whole story starts. Is it 7 or
5.
6?
That's
Is
Fast
it
Five.
5? Oh wow. Can you imagine being that casting director and never showing Jason Momoa once?
Yeah.
He was in the entire film. So anytime you think you're doing a bad job, you could
Yeah.
be the casting director from Fast and the Furious 5.
Yeah.
And you didn't think to show Jason Momoa one single time.
Yeah, that was the only thing I was like, we know he wasn't in this movie.
He's
Just
saying this.
you should have just been like, hey, the son was young or whatever. And
Yeah.
just, he's coming for revenge. Perfect. But it was like, oh. But then again, Fast 9, Dom and John Cena are brothers. Like,
Exactly. So there's an episode of I think it's Community.
I love that show.
And yeah, it's amazing. There's an episode that Jack Black is in a later season. And he's like, guys, I've been here the entire time.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they'll show scenes from the whole show and it'll pan over. And Jack Black is clearly just terrible green screened in. And he's like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And that's how I felt the entire time they were showing Jason Momoa in Fast X.
I remember that episode now. I feel like I watched like the first 4 or 5 seasons of Community that kind of fell off.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It got. I think they lost their they stopped doing it with the original channel that had them.
Yeah.
And then I know Yahoo bought them at one point and did one more season, and then someone else. It got really weird.
Yeah.
But the entire time, I felt like Jason Momoa was like, "Come on, guys, you don't remember me?
And
I was standing right there."
I can never remember this dude's name, but who plays Ames in the movie? I know him as Thad Castle. He's the one that's working with Momoa in Fast.
Okay, so
I don't know his real name.
Now we're getting into spoiler. I know him from DC has a show called Titans.
He's Aquaman. Yeah.
Oh, so in Smallville he was Aquaman. In Titans he was Hawk. He's been 2 DC characters. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I know. Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a football fan, but Blue Mountain State, it's a hilarious show about college football.
Really?
Yeah.
I've seen previews. I haven't watched it, so
I don't know what streaming service it's on or anything.
Is it a comedy though?
Oh yeah.
Then I'll try it. Yeah.
Yeah, major comedy. Just he's the main character from it.
Nice.
My editor's texting me, Alan Richardson. Yes, that's what it is. I can never remember. Yeah. I can never remember, but I know Thad Castle.
Nice. He's in an episode of New Girl too, and he's hilarious. So it makes sense that
Jack Reacher in the new show.
Yeah. He's in a ton of stuff, and he's awesome. In Titans, Titan is kind of a darker. It's a play off of like Teen Titans and all that. But that ran out. Oh, hold on. Let's go back to it. There we go.
It says it's on Freevee, Plex, Pluto TV, and the CW.
Well, I have the CW app for Flash, so we will have to check that out.
And Roku channel. I don't know what, but those are all included. It's only 3 seasons. There is a movie. The movie's not great, but it was a fan, not made movie, but it was a fan bankrolled movie.
Nice.
So like they all donated this money. The budget was like 1.1 million or something.
Jeez.
So they worked with what they had,
Yeah.
Wasn't great by any means, but we segued off of that again. Well, superheroes and Fast and Furious. That's our next stream. I'm gonna remember.
All right. And we'll have to talk about the new Power Rangers movie at that point. There's so many different ways we can go.
Power Rangers. I'm actually meeting in July Jenna Frank, Jason Davis' daughter. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
that's neat.
I always wanted to meet him. He never came to New Jersey, and tragically, we know what happened. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna meet the daughter. I'm gonna have her sign. I have a Green Ranger Christmas sweater.
Really?
So
awesome.
I'm gonna have her sign that, and I hope as long as she's cool with it, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I'm a massive Power Rangers fan. Have you seen the new special?
No. So I've seen trailers and stuff for it, but I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the story's there, but I don't know why I can't. Wasn't super excited about it. I don't know. And then
Yeah.
yeah, it's weird with I don't know what his name in real life is, but Jason. He's in
Yeah.
trouble. Yeah, I don't know if you heard about that, but
I don't know. I appreciate the only thing I did see was like Amy Jo Johnson. They were saying a bunch of stuff about her not being in it.
yeah,
And she was like, I'm in my 40s and the entire movie is in spandex. How about you lay off me? Because,
yeah, fair. Yeah.
and I'm excited for his, was it Legend of the White Ranger?
Yep, I'll
They,
be there opening night for that.
yeah.
I was like, I have to see this. I think it's September 3rd,
Oh, is
something
it
like that.
September? Okay. I didn't know when it was coming out. I'm just excited for it either way.
Labor Day weekend, whatever that Friday is.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I
You know
think
that.
that is
Yeah,
September 3rd. Awesome.
yeah, it's September 2nd, September 3rd. Yeah. So played active movie. All right, we're back to the Johnny Cash thing. I love Johnny Cash from Kirsten. He had a house near us in OJ.
Really?
I'm gonna guess that's somewhere in California. Sure, yeah.
Awesome.
And
That's
then
I
yeah,
believe it because I mean he was incredible. I know he had a home in Nashville, but he did so much, and that's what blows my mind is I every once in a while, even still, I think I've heard all of his songs, and they'll either play one or I'll finally find one that I hadn't heard, and I love it. I love every one of his songs. There's never been a song that I didn't enjoy. There are some that get overplayed, and that's the thing. It's like people are used to a lot of his songs that get played so much. But if you listen to basically got kind of kicked out of the Nashville music scene, he thought he was done with music. It's like I'm old. There's nothing I have left to give. And Rick Rubin, I will always enjoy Rick Rubin. BC Boys, Jay Z, walked into him and he was like, "You're not done with music. You have so much left to give." And that's when American Recordings started. And
okay.
if you play American Recordings, Johnny Cash, for people that only know Ring of Fire and Folsom Prison, which are amazing songs, but if you play American Recordings and you listen to Mercy Seat and Hung My Head and all these amazing ones, even where he does covers of like One by U2, and he just has such a different grizzled voice to where most people know Hurt by Johnny Cash. And
Yeah.
originally it's a song by Trent Reznor about drug addiction and all this stuff. But then you listen to Johnny Cash sing it, and he's this grizzled old man at the end of his life, and everything's already been taken from him, and he's telling you, you know, if he could do it all again, he'd still be himself. He'd still find a way. And it's just so amazing to me to where he can tell these stories and his voice is so unique, and he's such a badass. Like he didn't do everything right. He had all these screw ups, but he was always himself, and he could tell stories in a way that were incredible. That's why I love the Highwaymen too. If people know Johnny Cash, they didn't know he was part of the Highwaymen with Willie Nelson, Chris Christopherson, Waylon Jennings. Look up the Highwaymen, and that song, The Highwayman, is freaking badass. Like, yeah, it's incredible. I love Johnny
OJ is Ohio. Oh, Lord, was I way off.
Cash.
Like
Well,
someplace in California. Yeah. Thank you, Kirsten, for clarifying that because I probably would have still thought it. You know.
that is
Uh,
really cool though. That's super neat. That
yeah. Ryan wants to know: have you ever applied to any acting roles? I can totally see you being in an action movie. Yes, actually, yes, 100%.
I want to, and mainly because of people like Chris Pratt. He has so much comedy background, and then now everyone knows him as Star Lord and this incredible character. Well, where he still has comedy, but no, I've done some small things. I'll tell you one in a second. But no, I would love to do. I think anything, especially like all of those CW shows that we mentioned, Arrow, Smallville, anything, any kind of action movie, I think I would be a good bad guy for their good guy, or maybe a good guy. But so it's still very much wrestling, but I got to do extra part here in Austin, Texas. And if you have HBO Max,
I do.
it's actually on. I have to think of what it's called. So when you go into the Adult Swim section
Okay.
for Adult Swim on Cartoon Network, it's called infomercials. And I forget the episode that it is, but it's called, and you can write it down or I'll send it to you later. It's
Yeah.
called the suplex duplex complex, and it has Lance Archer,
Oh wow.
Mike Dell, I forget Chaz Taylor, and some other people. But we went up and we did some of the extra stuff for it, and luckily there was a little spot in the middle. It's a duplex. It's a ridiculous
Sure.
short movie for Adult Swim, but it was very
Oh,
fun to do.
yeah.
And
Sure.
yeah, there was a little spot in the middle where they're having a party, and that's where you can mainly see me, and it's another wrestler from Texas, Houston Carson.
Okay.
But they needed someone to actually do some wrestling moves, like just picking up and stuff. No, nothing crazy. But Lance Archer, we had done a lot of shows, and he knew both of us, and he grabbed us. He was like, "No, you're using these guys because they actually know what they're doing." And I'll always be super appreciative to
Yeah.
him. He had an injury a few years after that in a benefit show, and I made a point. I was like, "No, I want to work this benefit show just for free. Like I'm coming up to
Yeah.
work this show," because he's always been nice, and then
Yeah.
that specifically. So
Pay
it's on.
forward. That's sick.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max.
Okay.
Infomercials under the Adult Swim section.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
called infomercials for some
Yeah.
reason.
Okay. That's sick. That's funny. Okay. You did say this. Wait. Well, you said that was your dream match. Who your favorite wrestler of all time?
Favorite is Kurt Angle.
Oh, it is still
Period.
correct. Okay, I wasn't sure
He
because I
was
was like, I know he said the dream match,
yeah.
but
He was
uh,
amazing, super legit. Like the guy won a gold medal with a broken neck. He had cracked
broken.
vertebrae,
Yeah.
broken freaking neck, and it
Class.
was amazing. But then he would put on a little cowboy hat and get a guitar and entertain the crap out of you, and then he would go out and murder everyone.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Like I just love so many aspects of it because to me, you need to be able to do everything outside of the ring. But then the bell rang for him and he could go. Like he could just do everything. He's always been my favorite. He was super intense when he needed to be. He was funny when he needed to be. He was amazing.
That's sick. Yeah. One of the first matches I ever saw was him versus Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 21.
Really?
Yep. That was the
Holy crap.
show I
That
saw
is
cover to cover.
nice. There's so many matches that like I love a million Eddie Guerrero matches, especially I think it was him and it was Kurt Angle, Ray, and Eddie. But my favorite match is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. That's my favorite match of all time.
From 21? From
Yep.
21? That's
Yep.
my favorite match. Oh. I
I
mean,
was gonna say that's a tough one to ask.
yeah. Well, that was on here actually. So you two birds, one stone there. I think I gotta go Taker Michaels 25.
I was gonna say that's so many people's favorite.
I mean, I know it's a cliche answer, but like, oh man, Punk Cena Money in the Bank was great.
Yeah.
What else? What else? What else? I mean, I wasn't around for this, and I can't say I watched it live or anything. But Hogan and Rock,
Yeah.
the crowd,
That was
nothing but
amazing. There's so many, I would say, between either Cena and Edge, their matches were amazing, and Edge and Undertaker. I'd
yeah,
be hard pressed to find out of that entire period. And
yeah,
like that was such a time that like WWE needed them
yes,
because everyone was done with like Rock and Stone Cold. That's when people were like, oh, it's not cool to watch wrestling anymore.
yeah.
And then you had Cena and Edge who were so hungry, but then they were having like that TLC match where
Unforgettable
the yeah,
2006.
I forget which year. I just remember
Yeah.
Edge going through two tables off the top of the ladder,
Oh yeah.
and then yeah, exactly. And then Edge and Undertaker, their entire feud. It
Oh,
was like this, blood feud that just got more and more intense every single time they would have a match. they're having Hell in the Cells and all this stuff. Like, it was just super impressive. And out of that entire period of time, I would have a hard time picking like a favorite match out of those.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, my favorite match is Kurt and Shawn. It was,
That's a great match. Kurt and Taker was another great one.
yeah.
Way
They
Out.
had amazing matches.
06? No, Way Out 06. Yeah, because Kurt left shortly after that.
Yeah.
That's for the world title. Yeah, I remember that. Man, but like, so if I think we've talked about, you said you had fun watching some matches before, but if you had to give one match, your funnest in person, could be any brand, what is it?
Wait,
Like,
what is it that I'm picking? Sorry, say it one more time.
We mentioned this before, but I don't know if I got an answer, or maybe there's a different answer. Your not best match you've seen in person, but like the most fun, entertaining. What would that be?
Ooh. So that's, if you're just talking about fun, that's honestly, I'm trying to think of which one it would, and it's gonna be way off from, you're probably thinking like WWE or AEW or something like that. It's gonna be something with Effie. Like,
Okay.
I'm even trying to think of what it would be, but honestly, anything with Effie and Dark Sheik, because Dark Sheik is incredible, and not enough people know who Dark Sheik is. But right now, it's like Effie, Dark Sheik, and Alley Cat, which is crazy because Alley is from like the Austin area, is where I first met her, and she was wrestling a ton out there and having fun. But since she started teaming with Effie, it's just a different level. Their matches are amazing. So anything with Effie, Dark Sheik, Alley, and then honestly, it's gonna sound super like it's just me as far as preference. Marvelous Michael Stevens, who is actually the person that trained me, and Sal Renaro.
Okay.
So any of their matches are just incredibly fun. They're super technical, but they're still just crazy fun. And then I would just say anything with Effie and Dark Sheik. Like, they're
he's a character, all right.
yeah. He's so fun, and I saw a match with him and someone that we don't really talk about in wrestling anymore because horrible crap he did. But it was just super entertaining because let's not even mention the name.
Yeah,
but
once this shuts down.
Yeah. But Effie's just so entertaining, and I got to see him at like Fest Wrestling. Was it Fest Wrestling down in Florida? And so he just finds a way, no matter what the match is, to make it fun and entertaining, and the crowd's gonna remember it, regardless of, again, whether they like wrestling or not. That part doesn't matter. They're going to have fun.
That's sick. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh wait, I have 3 more questions, and then we'll get you out of here.
All right.
Actually, just a couple more comments. I have to get going. Thanks so much for coming on here, Anthony. I'll chat with you soon, Bobby. Yes, Kirsten. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Kirsten. Definitely, I'll give out my social information for everybody. You guys make sure to follow me on Instagram.
We'll do that at the end. Yeah, your Instagram name, when I took it down in Cali, I looked and I'm like I thought I was like seeing things. I'm like, huh, okay.
Yeah. No. It's
because I'm like, oh, let me. Huh. Okay.
I usually tell people because it's the Thoroughbred Anthony Andrews, and then that was already taken.
Yeah.
So the Thoroughbred. So yeah, that's where the rest of it got added on.
Yeah. So. Well, it's funny. My cousin was over today, and I was telling him how I was chatting with you, and he's like, oh, I was on Twitter, but I think I found the wrong guy. I'm like, well, what's the name? And he goes, Thick Daddy Thoroughbred. I'm like, no, you nailed it. That's him.
That's it. Yep.
I'm like, nope, that's 100% him.
Yep, that's me.
Kirsten says she added you on IG a few ago. Cool. Thank you, Kirsten.
Sweet. Yeah. Thank you.
Cloud Harley, my favorite match is Randy versus Mick at Backlash.
Ooh. That was a good one too. That was hardcore, right? I believe it was. Yeah. I mean, it's Mick, so I assume. But I believe that was the one. Crap. I might be confusing it with the one with Edge, but I remember the back getting hung up and everything.
I'll have to watch that. Okay. Or Kenny Omega versus Y2J,
Ooh,
Jericho in New Japan. I mean, that match. God, Lord, yeah.
yeah. Pretty much anything with Omega, I'm gonna watch just because he's
Yeah,
incredible.
he's sick. And what was I gonna do? Okay. In your downtime, what do you do when you're not wrestling? When you're not on the road? What does Thick Daddy Thoroughbred do?
So mainly, it's just I was mentioning to you before. Luckily, I've been able for a while now to where wrestling is my profession. That's
Yeah.
what I do. Is I'm a pro wrestler. I A lot of that is just keeping up with the gym. I love going to gym and tan is every day working on social media, all of that. As far as fun, I mean, there are certain things I do. I just had to go. Sorry, for the first time to the PBR Pro Bull Riding finals was on Sunday. Luckily, a friend of mine and her family wanted to take me. We went. It's amazing. It's honestly the entire performance is incredible. I love live events. So like baseball, I'm a huge fan. I don't really watch a lot of sports, but baseball has always just been something that I enjoy, and I can go to games. People think it's slow pace, but I love small ball where they're just getting someone on base, advance the runner, then finally bring them in. Like I love baseball, and people think it's a slow game. A lot of it, I think, is just live events. I really enjoy live events, concerts, anything like that. And other than that, honestly, we're in the same room that I make all of my own gear. I know right now a lot of this isn't very intricate, but when I first started out, a lot of my wrestling gear was super intricate, and so I sew, I do all my vinyl stuff, all of that. That's a fun time. Pretty much between one show to the next, I'm either making all of the merchandise, like a lot of the merchandise that I sell is stuff that I make myself, or I'm getting the gear ready. We have a lot of very specific gear for Crockett Cup.
Okay.
And so when you guys watch Crockett Cup, you'll be able to see what I mean by that, and specifically like why we chose that gear. It'll be very obvious. So
Oh, that's dope. I love that.
yeah,
I got one more question, and then actually, I'll do this question now. Now, I planned a while back to do a stream about how would you word it? Not the downfall of DC. We're going back to the superheroes for a little bit,
yeah.
but the Black Adam and Superman drama. But I can
Yeah.
never really find somebody to do with. Now that I know you love Black Adam, I'm
So,
throwing the invite out there.
I mean, I'll gladly be on it. I may not be the voice that you want to hear because I get annoyed every time I open up like Google or Yahoo. It's a lot of articles crapping on like either the movie or like The Rock was hard to deal with and blah, blah, blah. Crazy concept. It's a Hollywood actor that's at the top of his profession. I think what he was trying to do was build the franchise around himself because there was no one giving any direction. Like,
Because
I
he's a
don't,
massive name.
yeah, I don't blame the man for that. And yeah, he probably has a bunch of demands and it's difficult to work with. And they have to build this enormous gym for him every time he's on a movie set. Yeah, that's why he's a superstar. It's worked for him pretty well so far. So,
You know what? I want your true opinion, truthfully.
yeah,
And if you want
I'll
to come on,
definitely do that with you.
we'll nerd out. We'll figure out a day. Yeah. Uh,
Absolutely.
Probably like July, since we're already at the end of May. Because I don't have a
Yeah.
topic for July yet, quite frankly.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. No, I think because once you said you're like, I love Black Adam, I'm like, I think I gotta get him on the stream.
Yep.
It's like I have to. Because
I enjoyed it. I don't understand how people are saying it wasn't a success because I'm like, I I thought it was great.
we'll get into all that. We'll figure out a day. And like I said, I
Gotcha.
had that idea months ago. I'm like, I want to talk Black Adam. I want to talk Superman. What went wrong? Cavill
Yeah, that's
and all right, I'm gonna put you on the spot kind of again without saying Henry Cavill. Who do you want to be the new Superman?
oh, so that's a sore topic. I've been upset ever since Tom Welling from Smallville.
Oh,
They had him do a screen test, and he looked amazing in the suit. Because if you ever watched Smallville,
yeah,
he didn't put on the suit until the very last episode.
yeah,
So ever since that, I don't really care who they pick. Like I've always been annoyed by it. But to me, I mean, again, it needs to be someone new. Like if you're starting over again, because that's what I feel like they're doing with Flashpoint.
yeah,
I don't know that they're going to make Superman a huge focus, because in the movie or in the trailer, if you notice, they show Kara, so Supergirl,
yeah,
as the one that they're helping out. So he may pop up at some point, but I think they're going to focus more on basically exactly what they did with Marvel. Since they have James Gunn now, I think they're going to focus on origin stories. That's why they had to reset the universe. They're
yeah,
going to focus on origin stories and then build these people for 10 years, 12 years, like they have with everyone in Marvel. I
yeah,
don't think James Gunn is a crazy genius. He's just like, oh, we're going to do what we did over there
yeah,
that everyone loves. We're going to do that here. And these two guys that are huge established stars that have other projects open to them, we're not going to use them because they're going to derail what we're trying to do with new origin stories. So if they do a Superman, I think it's going to be a young Superman that they're going to create an origin story and build. So I don't even know who they would get for that.
You ever watch the show Outer Banks?
No, no.
Okay. So the main guy from there
Okay.
needs to cut his hair a little, but I feel like he could pull it off. His name is
Nice.
Chief Stokes.
Okay. I'll
I
have to
know
look
that,
him up because
yeah. He doesn't exactly look like a Superman. He doesn't look like Henry Cavill, right?
yeah,
But I feel like he could pull it off. And I read a report saying like they're like, yeah, young Hollywood is everyone's sending in an audition tape for
oh yeah,
Superman.
that's
I'm like, I can't blame him.
yeah. I think they're gonna go super young. That way, they know they can build this franchise. And they were trying to do Justice League. I mean, I guess they did, but
But
they didn't do. So I'll one more thing, and then I actually have a question to ask you, and then I don't know, maybe should wrap it up after a
yeah,
couple hours.
I do have one more question wrestling
Go ahead.
related, but let's do it.
Well, I wanted to tell this terrible story because I love DC. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
Justice League was so bad that I forgot that I had seen it. I started watching it on streaming and I only remembered because the villain was so bad that I was like, "Oh, I've seen this movie before." And that villain was horrible.
What was his name? Steppenwolf?
Steppenwolf, yeah.
Wow, I don't remember
Which
that.
the Zack Snyder cut was better, but I don't know.
It
But
was
the
too late,
question was,
in my opinion.
yeah, it was. I forgot I had seen it. My mind tried to protect me by blocking it from my memory.
That's so funny.
But I was going to ask you along the same lines.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference for the new James Bond? Have you seen a lot of the Bonds? Do you have someone that you think would be good for it? Do you?
James Bond. Okay. So this name was thrown around, and I can't say I came up with this on my own, but I think he's a great actor. Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Wait, who is that? I'm terrible with actual names.
You're good. He played Quicksilver in the second Avengers.
Really? I know who you're talking about now.
Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
He takes the bullet for Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
They
For Hawkeye. Yeah.
slipped there.
You good?
They mentioned him, and I could see it, but also I'm a massive. You ever watch Friday Night Lights, the show?
Yeah.
Tim Riggins, Taylor Kitsch.
Oh, okay. Huh.
I obviously he would have to do something with his hair.
Yeah.
No, of course. But I've seen him with short hair. He doesn't look bad. I think he deserves a shot at something big because he did. I don't know if you ever saw John Carter.
No.
So John Carter was this movie that came out in 2012, and I liked it, but apparently I was the only person on planet Earth to like it. It did so bad at the box office. The sequel got scrapped, and I
Oh
think he's
wow.
a phenomenal actor. And obviously, he would have to change a lot. But I'm going with him, Taylor Kitsch.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
We'll have to have a whole separate movie one too, because Vampire's Assistant is one that they set up for a sequel. I think I was the only person who saw the movie and loved it. And then there was no sequel, and I was so upset.
yeah.
The first one's amazing.
Yeah.
So I feel your pain.
I liked John Carter a lot, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like Black Adam. Like,
Huh.
what? Who is seeing this? Well, John Carter. John Carter was far from a perfect movie, but
I'll have to
still,
give it a shot now though, because you enjoy it. So
I think it's on Disney Plus.
I'll find it. Because I enjoyed Vampire's Assistant so much, and then
Yeah.
it was gone, and I was like, all right, well, we're just not doing this, I guess.
No, yeah. We'll get to the last question.
Yeah.
That Black Backlash match is a sleeper. Oh, well, hello there, Jack Bills. It's been a while, my bud. Digging the facial hair, Bobby. Thank you, bud. I hope you're doing well. It's been a while. Thank you for tuning in. Clout got Riley says Jack Bills. Ryan says this is the best interview. Bet, I believe he means yet. Beats Alicia Toots. I won't bash any person that's taken the time to come on to me, but I will say this is my favorite. Yeah. I'm not
Thank
saying
you
yours is
guys.
bad,
No,
but
I appreciate.
we went off on so many different directions, and I love that because I'm not an
Yeah.
organized person by any
No,
means.
I appreciate you guys liking it, and I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me on. It's been fun, man.
Yeah. Oh, then he corrected himself to yet. Yo, what's up, Harley? They're just having a conversation. That's Joe Jones. That's my nickname, Donnie. Jack Bill's unpopular opinion: X-Men Origins is one of the best X-Men movies. Okay, now don't tear me apart, anyone, including you, Anthony. Never seen an X-Men movie.
Really? Oh wow.
I've seen both Deadpools.
Okay. I mean, Deadpool's incredible.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. No, I love Ryan Reynolds, love Deadpool. Deadpool as a character, if you love the movies, don't read the graphic novels, because Deadpool is amazing.
Yes.
He's also a much more messed up character than in the movies. Mm-hmm. So, you know Al, who the blind woman.
Yeah.
I believe it's Al. It may be a different character, but I'm 90% sure it's Al. Is a prisoner, not like, hey, haha, we lived together. It's a prisoner, finally escapes. It may be a different character, but again, finally escapes, makes it all the way back to her boyfriend that she was trying to find. And there's a note from Deadpool that says, if you ever try and escape again, it'll be much worse next time.
Oh.
Yeah, Deadpool's a messed up character. They make him all funny and ha ha ha. No, Deadpool is a mercenary who has had a horrible life. So, but as far as so everybody's like, oh no.
That is
But as far as X-Men movies, especially the first one, like the original X-Men, incredible. Like, such good movies. So I'm never gonna be like, oh, you haven't seen them, but yeah,
I'm gonna see them eventually. I will. I think they're on Disney Plus now, so
I think. Well, I don't know though, because I think those may have been Sony movies instead of like part of the Marvel universe. So it's like Spider-Man, where like sometimes they have their own contracts, so it gets weird.
So we'll see. Yeah. Joe Jones says Andrews is awesome. Yes, he is, Joe Jones.
Hey,
actually, he's the one that hit your car.
Bro, no,
he's the one.
Good, man. I guess I appreciate you hitting the car, because otherwise I wouldn't have met all of you guys, and I wouldn't have been on the podcast. So this worked out, man.
Yep. And then Cloud God Harley says Joe Jones, the man, the myth, legend. Everybody's just being reunited in this chat. You know, Joe Jones said Harley. And then Ryan says the Deadpool comics are very, very raunchy and violent, to be honest. Yeah, it sounds like that.
I haven't even read like all of them by any means, but yeah, that's They get bizarre.
All right. Yeah. So we're gonna definitely do a DC stream, and I think
Nice.
I'm definitely gonna keep it strictly to DC. We
It'll,
can
yeah.
we can discuss comics. We can. This movie just popped in my head. Green Lantern. We can.
Oh, yeah.
We can. Black Adam, Superman. We can discuss the first
Awesome.
Justice League, the second
Perfect.
Justice
Oh,
League.
oh,
We're gonna discuss it all, folks. I'm glad because I wanted to do it for the longest time, but I was like, I don't really have anyone to come on with me.
oh, yeah.
But once you said you loved Black Adam, I'm like, all right, I have to get him back.
Absolutely. And it'll give me an excuse to watch all of them again before we do it because I just enjoy watching half of them anyway.
Yes.
Oh, Green Lantern again,
Yeah.
though.
Oh, and one more question.
Yeah.
And this will end on a pretty positive note.
Nice.
Any advice for a person that's possibly listening to this that wants to become a wrestler in the future?
Absolutely. Just the biggest thing is just sticking to it. There's so many people that I've met in wrestling that I thought had a lot of potential. So avoid some of the pitfalls. I would say definitely find a good wrestling school.
Okay.
Wherever you're at now, you can find a good wrestling school. If you're in Texas, there's so many, but I always say Booker T's because I worked there for a while after I'd been wrestling 7 or 8 years. Uh, and they were able to teach me so many things that I didn't already know. So that comes from find someone who's reputable, who has a name in the business. They don't have to have a name, but just at least have produced quality students. Out in Georgia, there's WWA 4. I was lucky enough to go to the Nightmare Factory because one of the times I worked with WWE, I did something with Cody, and he let me know, he let a few of us know, hey, if you're out in Georgia. So Nightmare Factory was extremely nice. Like I said, WWA 4, it was crazy to me uh, how their minds worked when we were going over things. So those are definitely great schools out there. Up in Tennessee, there's Jacob Pritchard's Wrestling Academy, which is Kane and Dr. Tom. They have a school out there. That's where my tag partner came from. So they obviously have, there's so many good places. Austin Idol has a school. So find a good wrestling school. That's one of the biggest things. Even places that you would think like don't have any wrestling out in Utah, there's Devotion Championship Wrestling. This isn't just me plugging
Yeah,
every place that I know, but find a good wrestling school and train there. The other thing is stick to it because there were people who I guarantee were more talented, who had more natural attributes that stopped wrestling when they were about to finally make their big break. That's the big thing is when I started wrestling, I was just talking to my old tag partner, Michael Stevens. And like I said, he's the guy who trained me. There were plenty of people who wouldn't have guessed that I was the one traveling around the country working on different TV products and wrestling being my only job. But there are other people who just gave up too quick. So just stick to it. And then other than that, it's a lot of the things like work on your body as much as you can, work on being healthy, keep yourself healthy. Don't do dumb things when you're starting out because there are so many things that I wish that I hadn't done early on. Just as far as like keeping your body safe, keeping your joints safe. And then you don't have to look like this Adonis, but just start working on your body. That way, my big thing with working out is I never want there to be a time where I need to do something in a match or someone's counting on me in a match and I can't do that. That's what I mean by working on your body. Start lifting weights so you can pick up anybody you need to, you can catch anyone you need to, and you can keep everyone safe and then work on your cardio. That way you're always there for whatever you need to do, even if what you need to do is laying in the ring at that moment and doing something specific. If you don't have the cardio, it takes a lot of cardio to be able to lay in the center of the ring and do what you need to do. And a lot of people don't realize that. So start working on that now.
Yeah, I could never. I could never. Straight up. But all right, so Ryan said, Andrew, you're awesome. Thank you for coming on. The first
Thank you
of
guys, man.
He'll be back pretty soon. We're gonna work on that. Thank you for the question, Bob. All right, this will be the last one. Take on Gable Steveson. It's a hard.
Oh,
Yeah, that's hard to do because I haven't seen much of him. But
I was gonna say I haven't seen anything. The thing that I appreciate, he is the one who, like him and his brother signed, right? And then he's still
yeah,
out. So what I was gonna say is I appreciate because I don't know that much about him either.
yeah,
But the thing is, he didn't just take that like, hey, they're not using me right now,
yeah,
and like just sit around and not do anything. He just went out and competed again, right?
yeah.
Oh, so
I've seen he's been going around. Yeah,
yeah, so that's the thing is like I appreciate him because if nothing else, as far as his pure sport, he's like, all right, if I'm not on TV wrestling right now, I assume he's still training. The
yeah,
guy looks like $1 million. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go out and compete in what I do. It's like the story that Mark Henry is told, where he was signed, he went to WWE, and then as far as all the competitions and powerlifting and everything, everyone's like, oh, well, he went and he does that wrestling stuff, so he's not really the athlete he used to be. And he went to Vince McMahon. He was like, hey, I need to go compete again.
mm,
And Vince McMahon told him, he's like, all right, you can go do anything that you need to do. You have our support. But I'm just going to let you know I don't have a place in my company for the second strongest man in the world.
did not know that.
And he went, all right. And he went and he outlifted everyone. He blew everyone out of the water.
That's
Like,
sick.
not even close. Yeah. And came back. They were happy to have him. But yeah. So if you're willing to, you have this contract, you have the opportunity to be in the WWE, and you still go out and you're like, all right, that's amazing. I want to succeed in the WWE. I want to succeed in pro wrestling, but I still want to go out and show that I can do my original sport better than everyone else. Awesome, man. So I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, me too. I think he can be great, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's sick. But that's it. I took a lot of your time, and I apologize.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I get going talking, and yeah. But hey,
Oh
man.
no, I had a blast. Last thing I want to say before we hop off,
Yeah,
as far as definitely tune into Crockett Cup on June 3rd and 4th in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'll be back in Georgia for Wrestle America on June 10th. Then out here in Texas, doing Texas style wrestling. It's TSW in the Dallas area. That'll be June 24th. And then the last one I think I have coming up very soon, it's going to be July 2nd for RCW in San Antonio.
nice.
So any of those, and then go to Angry Lemonade and get those Crockett Cup shirts.
Yeah. And follow him on Instagram at Thick Daddy Thoroughbred. It's how it's said. Yes, it will. I'm pretty
just
sure
like it's a.
it will pop up pretty quickly. But
Yeah.
yeah, I still remember that. But sick. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who joined, who commented, and if you didn't comment, if you were just here listening, thank you. But thank you to my guest. He plugged everything. If you have anything else you want to plug, go for it.
You were good. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll definitely see you on the next one.
Yeah, yeah, amen to that. And I'm Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns with the Thoroughbred, Anthony Andrews, and we will see y'all next time. Later, guys. Bye-bye.